Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sylvia and I make videos on planning with the occasional review. Today's video is going to be my setup of my A6 Pocket Leuchtturm 1917. Alright, I already tried to film this video and I woke up at 4:30 this morning. I just could not sleep in. I couldn't go back to bed because I do have a chiropractor appointment this morning that I have been saving for the end of the month because Jade has this week-long break between the regular season and leagues for volleyball, and I was like, okay, I can finally go get my back worked on because I'm usually out for 2 to 3 days recovering. The point is, it's super early, the sun's coming up, the lighting kept changing, it was so dark in here, and I'm just like losing my mind. The paper on the page was like fluorescent, it was like glowing because I had the light up so bright so that you could see things, and then when I turned it down to whatever, who cares, you're not here for that. We're just gonna roll with the lighting like we always do, and it's gonna be just fine, I'm sure. So the first thing I wanted to say is yesterday I was having struggles sleeping as well, and we've talked about this in the past. I have like that seasonal stuff where when the seasons are changing, my body and my brain just go crazy for a little while, and it takes me some time to adjust. So I was up watching YouTube for a really long time yesterday morning, and I saw a channel, and I forgot to write it down. It was KTI.plans, which I imagine she just pronounces Katie Plans. I don't know. I will link her channel down below. But she had an A6 Moterm, and I was like, I have a Moterm. And she was keeping her pocket Moleskine in this. And I thought, that's really small. Isn't it going to look dwarfed and odd? And it didn't. It looked pretty great. And I was like, what? I'm going to try this. So here is my A6 that I have for 2023. Once this last quarter 2022 comes up, I can use this because it starts technically in January. So I wanted to see how it looks. Now, she had a brownish Moterm cover, and I keep saying Moterm. That is not correct. Moterm cover. And since mine is black on black, I felt like it would look a little bit not only matchy nicer, but like it wasn't, like you can't really tell, you know what I mean? Because it's black on black, especially with this lighting, it's terrible. But there's plenty of space at the top and at the sides if you are a tabber, which I love. And I thought, oh my gosh, that actually looks pretty good. It doesn't look really tiny and crazy. So I thought, you know, if I go with another A6 in 2023, these two could fit really nicely together in here. And this is A6 in height. Remember, we talked about this being a hybrid, and then it's more narrow because it's a pocket than A6, right? So this fits in here really nice with no struggles, which I love. So if you're someone who wants to take either one of these out to write on, you're not going to have any struggles of taking them in and out. And it fits just so next to the pen loop, which made me very happy. And the pen I'm using currently is the Friction Biz 2. I almost said ball. I mean, you know what I mean. And then it closes really nicely, and look at that. Look at that. Fantastic. So applause for her and her channel. Maybe other people have been doing this and have seen it, but my brain is pretty great about filtering things when I'm watching YouTube. Like, if it doesn't apply to me, I don't hold on to it. And I was never looking for this, so I might have seen it in other people's videos and didn't even realize. Do you guys also do that? I don't really even know. If you want to tab your A6 Pocket, you can push this back a little bit so it won't hit the pen loop. I like it to be close to the edge, but if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I used to be a tabber. I used to tab the shit out of things, but lately I've just been using no covers and throwing the actual hardcover notebooks, whether it's A5 or A6, into my purse. Therefore, the tabs would just get a jumbled, hot, bent up mess, and so I haven't been tabbing. So now, if I decide to use this, I can certainly do that and feel very comfortable that my tabs are going to be awesome and secure. So I really love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. The last thing I wanted to mention, oh gosh, did I even bring it? It's already in here. Duh, Sylvia. There is a great big nice back pocket in the A6. I think there's also one in all of the sizes, right? I get confused because I know in the Filofax the personal size Maldens, they don't have back pockets. Am I correct in saying that? And so I'm like, do all of them have back? I don't know. Anyway, not the same company. But I did go ahead and do this. I printed out a calendar for October 2022, and then I cut off all of the edging so there wasn't any extra because I was concerned it wouldn't fit in the back, and then I printed it at 90% instead of 100. I think you could print it at 100 and it would fit just fine, but I just folded it in half and it fits nicely in the back here, and I'm loving it. So if you watch the review of the Moleskine Pocket, this is the weekly, then you know that there are monthlies in the front, and they're just teeny tiny. They're 1 to a page, and I'm not going to do any planning on this because that's stupid. And so I thought I need another option. I also don't like how the monthly box calendar looks in here. Oops, we're going in and out of focus. Sorry, focus, focus, focus. I don't like how the box calendar looks in the A6 because it's teeny, teeny tiny as well. So this is another option for those of you who live and die by your monthly calendar and you're like, how do I go smaller? Potentially like this. So I thought that this could be an awesome calendar that I just keep private. So if you wanted to put your weight on here and you're not, you know, very interested in people, you know, judging you based on that, or anything else like track health things, period, anything about your children where you don't want to have to disguise, especially if you're like me because you show your planners online, this is a way to do that. And so I'm kind of excited. And I also wanted to say that if I wanted to move into this earlier, since that other guy is not going to be ready till 2023, these are the inserts for the personal size traveler's notebook I got on AliExpress, and I did a video on how I cut that down to fit in this guy. I also cut the inserts that it came with to A6 Pocket instead of Filofax. Instead of, I'm telling you, my brain and my tongue are not awake yet, super early. Fill note size. I didn't want to cut it down to fill note size. I'm glad I didn't. I just wanted to cut it to fit to match with this guy, and it fits nicely in here. So you can have an extra notebook in here, and it looks really good. Does it not look really good? I feel like it does. I thought about going ahead and puncturing holes for a traveler's notebook, and I don't think I need to do that. I don't think it's necessary at this point. But it's something you can certainly do. For those who are interested, I have taken a smaller mat, and I cut off a nice chunk about this big. And so I would take that long, I'm just pretending that this is it, obviously, and stick it down in here. And then I have the type of hole punch that's metal like this. It has like a little hole in it, and you just put it down here, and then you hit it with a mallet or a hammer. So I would recommend sticking a smaller mat down here so that you won't puncture a hole through the back, obviously, because we have brain farts like that and don't even realize it. And these guys are probably gonna get cut out because they drive me crazy. I'm tucking them back here for right now, but oh my gosh. Yeah, so that is that. Oh, I should mention quickly that I do not recommend this particular style of Moterm. I have, what's it called? The croc print, and that happens to be a stiffer leather that I really like. So I don't know if this comes in croc. Maybe it does. Again, this is A6 in size. I also love my Moterm what are they called? Standard traveler's notebooks that seem to have more structure than this. So this does have a stiffener, excuse me, in here. I can hear it. I don't know if you can, but it's not very stiff, and you can just roll this up into a ball, and I'm not a fan of that. When you add notebooks and inserts in here, it does give it more structure, but this combination with the A6 Stology, because that's why I bought this back in the day, and they've both been sitting in a box ever since, they just didn't work for me, and I wasn't a fan. But I'm thinking about coming back to this and possibly cutting this down to A6 size, because I saw, oh, I forget her name, but her channel is Life in the Mitten. She cuts the Stology down to A6 Pocket, and I thought, oh, well, maybe that would work for me. And people have lovely things to say about this paper. I didn't mind the paper when I was in here. It's just, I don't know, something about A6 size is just so odd. It's kind of jarring when you first use it, or even going back to it after a really long time. and it either works or it doesn't. So cutting this down might be something that works better for me. But you didn't come here for any of that, so we should probably get to the main event, right? Okay, so I said setup. I'm just basically going to do a flip through of my setup because I have been having back issues. I have slowly been setting this up here and there, and I've already actually been in here for about a week. So let's get to it, shall we? In the front here, I do have this beautiful butterfly that came in my Happy Mail and a quote by my favorite writer, one of my favorite writers, Kurt Vonnegut. And then this is just one of those, let me see if I have one. Yes, I do. These guys. Remember, this was a collage. I bought a collage from Amazon, I think. I also bought one from AliExpress. I think this one was from Amazon. If I can find a link, I will link it down below. I bought this and I didn't realize it was a sticky one. I wanted the thicker kind of like cardstock type of collage, and I ended up keeping it because I thought, oh my gosh, I can use these on my planners. And you have seen a picture on my Moleskine weekly for this year. It's one of these guys. So I just cut it down and stuck it on here. I'm going to try really hard, guys, to use these pages. I'm going to super try hard. So what I decided is that I don't care. I really don't care where my monthlies are in here. I don't care about the dailies or the weeklies. I don't care. I don't reference them, you know, years later. I don't. They just sit in a box and kind of look pretty. So what I thought would be helpful to me that I might actually use is if I only listed my collections. So my collections start on page 135, and I want a collection for each page. So I thought, instead of, you know, flipping through and trying to find a collection, and you can't mark every single collection because then you would never find any of them, right? I could just use this, write them down, and be like, okay, this is the collection I'm looking for. And maybe I would refer to it. Here's hoping. I'm going to try it. This is a printable. Oh, are we focused? Focus. Okay, this is a printable by the Planner Spot. I think you end up getting it if you are subscribed to her newsletter. Is that true? Let me know down below. Anyway, there were dates up here that had already passed, so I deleted them and I put this here because 'tis the season, right? And I love hot chocolates and I'm not a coffee drinker. Here, I made this at the beginning, no, the end of last year, and I kind of forgot about them, and I don't think I used them at all this year. And so I remembered I had them, and I printed it out as a cover page for October. And I might add something else here, you know, later, but like I mentioned, back issues, I've just been doing what I can when I can do it. Here is my monthly, and like I mentioned, I'm not even going to try to do a box calendar that was super small and stupid, and I'm not going to do that. So I decided I was going to do a bullet journal style on 2 pages, and I was going to do memory keeping because I did that in my last A6 and I kind of enjoyed it. It's just like a little blurb of what happened that day. Just indexing my month, right? And I had something written here and I decided not to do that. I thought I was going to keep appointments here, and I was like, no. So for those of you who are not excited about having your bullet journal style calendar here and here, this might work better for you. It also gives you more space to write across, which is really nice. So the top part, I decided to go ahead and put some mild liner. I think that's mild liner. Do I have it? I do. In this color because I can't seem to use orange. I think it's really gross, and I know that October is certainly very pumpkin-y and orange. So this was as close as I could get without throwing up. And I used that up here just for a pop of color. I just wanted a little bit. I put schedule here, and these were things I wanted to schedule throughout the month that were going to be coming up, or things I wanted to do. Most of it was like food. Do you guys also have this problem? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to use the hot dogs, or I have to use, what was it? The feta cheese, because it's going to spoil soon. And so I just need a place for that. And there's probably a better way to do that, maybe a collections, but I thought I would look at it more here. Does that make sense? So I'm trying out some things that might not happen in November's setup, and that is fine. That's part of exploring and learning. I have an extra space here when this one fills up, which it has, to put more stuff, and we'll see how that goes. Now this is a different page, and sometimes it's the way you think about something, if that makes sense. So usually I have a monthly task list This is not necessarily a monthly task list. This is more of a seasonal task list for the month of October. These are things that are coming up that I want to do in October. Halloween movie list, check. Pumpkin carving or painting. We like to paint more than carve because the pumpkins, they start to rot and mold really early, and it seems like they're not making it to Halloween anymore. So painting is better for us. Plus, when the kids were younger, they'd give up halfway through and Uncle Jay and I would just be carving all night, and it was stupid. Scary movie night, we actually had early because Jade was already here. I have another section here where I can write more, so we'll probably have another scary movie night where we order really good food and eat candy again. Halloween night, so I wanted to plan that out, so we had some really great food again, and we want to have a really good movie. It might be the movie Halloween, but who knows, because another one's coming out. I almost want to say that I'm annoyed, but the last one was pretty great, so I'm okay with it. And we have costumes and pumpkin Reese's. Did I spell Reese's right? I don't even know. I love pumpkin Reese's. I like all of the holiday Reese's because they don't have that hard, gross chocolate around the edge like regular Reese's, and the mini ones are even worse. So love those, especially to cut up and put in ice cream. Highly recommend. And then pumpkin cheesecake, because we usually make that during the holidays for Thanksgiving, and then we don't eat it because we're so full from all the food. So we started making it earlier so we could appreciate it more. And of course, I made a Halloween list. Some of these movies we've already seen, some are new and coming out. These are the movies we watched yesterday. Black Phone, which I highly recommend. It happens, well, it's set in the 1970s, but it was great. I really loved it. We all loved it. Nocturne, which Jade and I have seen before, but Uncle Jay hadn't. And when she heard that, she's like, what? We're staying up late to watch it? I went to bed. Continuing the list here of movies, do I think we're going to do 31 every single night? Absolutely not. But we like to have options because some of us have seen movies that others have not. And some of us are not willing, this girl here, to watch really gross movies like The Purge and Saw, because I just can't. I can't handle them, y'all. I just can't. It's mostly me. I'm Debbie Downer, and I don't care. Then we have my weekly. So I had someone, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, mention this in the comments where they said that they don't actually like having all of their monthlies together. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So unless you got like a custom insert, I suppose, where like Any Plans has an insert like that, where you have your monthly, your weekly, and your dailies, stuff like that, and then you just buy them for each month. It would be really difficult because I feel like all planners have all the months all together. Does that make sense? So I actually wanted to try all of my weeks all together. So I have all of October weeklies together, and I did go ahead and draw all of those out. Again, I used yellow because it was the closest to orange without freaking me out, and I like it. So this is kind of the Megan, I forget Megan's last name. Y'all know her. She also plans in an A6, and she's very like, it's a very clean design, which I appreciate. And so I wanted to try that out as well. Of course, mine are bigger. I wanted to come to the edge. I like big boxes. I like big boxes, and I can't deny. Just because I have bigger handwriting, and so it works better for me. I also put the washi here. Oh yeah, remember we talked about that? That same washi is here, and I just did some kind of like acronyms over here to the side because there was no space, and I liked that it was like flush with the edge. So, you know, this too with the edge, it's a design thing. I don't know. I get a little out of control sometimes, but this is working really well for me. There is space here to have another column of to-dos or tasks rather, and I don't have that because I like how my sticky notes fit here, and I've used these sticky notes. Again, usually this is where my reading goes, and I actually have so much reading I'm behind on. Reading that I've started, reading that's Jade's, reading that is going to, well, this one, like this book right here, I have 4 days. I need to read it quickly because it's actually online, so I can't renew it. So I just have all this reading, and I do that with sticky notes because I get really annoyed, and it makes me feel bad when I have to forward things that I know I worked on, but they didn't get finished. So the sticky notes just allows me to pick it up and put it on the next week without any shame. No shame. You also, I think you should try it out, and you just feel better about your life. Also, Megan has like this little square down here where she puts the date, and I don't know. I couldn't get around that. So I decided to just make its own line and do that. And it's working out pretty great. Yeah, I'm loving having a place to dump everything. And since I did the entire month, it's almost like having a full-on calendar monthly, right? I've gone ahead and already scheduled things in that I know that are coming up, and everything's done in Friction Pen. So if something, you know, gets messed up or I put it on the wrong day, I can just erase it. So it's not that serious. So I didn't feel like I needed a sticky note. Like, I tried to use a sticky note and I was like, Sylvia, you could just write it in. Hello. So I left that there because I felt really stupid. Down here at the bottom, this number is just what week we are on, and then of course this is what days are within that week. And why do I need to write that when it's up there? I don't know. I just did it, and maybe this is stuff I won't do later, but it's a lot of good information. I have September and October on the bottom because this is one of those weeks where it's in both months. The rest just have October there. And again, these are those what the hell are they called? Midori stamps. Okay, so anyway, here is the end of that, and then I put this here, and this was kind of probably a stupid mistake that I might end up regretting, but anyway, it doesn't matter because I can erase it. It also doesn't matter because you can put washi tape over it, or you can just tape these two pages together if it was that serious. You know what I'm saying? So I put a future log here because when I put it in the front or the back, I never use it. And most of the time, I don't even try. But I wanted a place to just put stuff that was coming up for November. And I shouldn't have put December here, but something in my brain was like, yeah, put December here. Just so that when this month is over and I go to set up November, I can just look at this page and then move on. That's probably why December doesn't work here. So if I have a lot of stuff or I take up a lot of space for November, I might just erase that it says December. Do you savvy what I'm saying? I don't know. I had 2 pages because I was like, my dailies are starting and I don't want them to start here. So I might put something here later. Stay tuned to find out. So my dailies, we talked about this. I showed you how they used to look and I wanted to try that out again. Now I had planned on doing a day per page. That didn't work out because I've been having back issues and I've been incredibly busy, so I haven't had time to really sit down and work on that. So I've been doing 2 days per page. Here is today, and I'm trying my bestest, y'all, to not set up in advance. So back in the day when I used to do this, I would set up the whole week like this, and I would make sure to divide it in half. But I want to allow myself to use as much space as I need, because some days are heavier than others. Y'all understand that when you're planning, and I might need like 2 pages per day, you know what I mean? So I think that the fact that I have these weeklies already all set up in one place, which I'm loving so far, no regrets there, allows me to be a little more lenient on having the days already set up because I have a place to put all this information. And even though you have a sticky note that you can put here, it still wouldn't work for me. I felt like I needed to have it all planned out. And so the weeklies are pretty badass. I'm really loving them all together. So October. Oh, and if I didn't mention, this is by, I mentioned her earlier, Life in the Mitten. These are printables, and I got the last of this year, like the last quarter of the year. And I think that that is everything in here. I do have some Midori Tabs, and the 2 that I have collections here. They start on page 135, and then of course in the back here, these are where the perforated pages start. And so I just went ahead and did like my daily tasks. So this guy right here, that's what they are. And this is just like, instead of having another acronym at the top that said journaling, you know, the first letter of all that stuff, I just went ahead and did this because I like the way it looks. You could also probably put it long ways up here, which is something I might do if I need more space to write. I might need that extra column of space to write because I do have bigger handwriting. But the great thing is this one gets one more extra box, so I guess I could put longer things here. I am trying to make things a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, and in order to do that, I'm starting like one box away. That also allows me to use signifiers here if I needed to. So if I needed to make like an asterisk or something, I can see it, if that makes sense. So I don't know, what are you guys thinking? I have a little bit of journaling at the bottom. Originally, this is where vocab was supposed to go, and this whole thing here was supposed to be for journaling. I was going to be using these little daily guys, and I just didn't like them. I was like, no, I don't want to. So I took them out, and I'm actually using them in my daily journaling in writing, which I do every day because I'm switching over my writing planner. So they're getting used, just not in here. Yeah, so I think that is everything I wanted to say. In the back, I have one of these. Again, I had the whole year and I never printed these out. So I put this in the back because whenever I have it in the front, I just don't look at it or use it. So I go with what works for me. You know, you should do you. All right, so that is my setup, and I will come back next week and let you know how things are working out, and if I decide to put a cover. I did have a sticker that you guys have seen for this, and it was a little bit too big, and I didn't want to cut around the edge. I got really scared, basically, that I was gonna fuck it up. So I thought I'm gonna leave that for an A6 or an A5 bullet journal and look for another sticker for this one. So yeah, all right. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope that this was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.